I'm making this video to explain how the new glitch in Oracle of Seasons works. In a nutshell, if you haven't seen it, the way it works is you create so many roosters that the game cannot load the Onyx's castle cutscene trigger, and this allows you to waltz into the front door of Onyx's castle. In order to explain this, I'm using BGB's debugger, which is pretty necessary because there are some technical details which can make it difficult to understand what you're doing wrong. So let me just scroll this up. We don't need the code viewer, we'll just use the memory viewer. And I'll start by explaining how objects work. So press Ctrl G and go to D000. This is the start of object memory, starting at right here. The first object is link, and we can actually verify this by setting the first byte to 0. And link gone. He's just gone. Let me change that back. That's just to verify that that's the object he corresponds to. And if we scroll down, we'll see that it's all empty. Like all the way from D000 to DFFF, there's nothing there. And this is the end, there's nothing, it goes up to here. Beyond this is not object memory, it's something else, so we can ignore that. You scroll back up here, let's load a different object. So on the next screen you have the Rooster. And we see down here, okay, slip is happening here, and this is the Rooster. Let's verify this. Set the first byte to 00, and he's gone. Set this back to 01, and he's back. So each object has 40 bytes of storage in hexadecimal, or 64 bytes in decimal. So what that means is we have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows which they occupy. Starting here at D280 is for a different object slot, so that's not the Rooster's memory, that's something else's memory, which is being currently unused right now. So, just to explain how other objects work, in theory, we could spawn another Rooster just by writing bytes here. So the Rooster's ID is 8C, that's the second byte here. So in theory, since this should correspond to another object slot, let's try to spawn another Rooster. So we just have to write 01 here to make the object appear, and then 8C here to say this is a Rooster. So let's see what happens. Now that's not a Rooster. The reason that happened is because we used at the wrong location. So essentially there are about 4 different types of objects in the Oracle games, and it depends on where they are. So if the address ends in 40, it's what I call an interaction. It's essentially a miscellaneous type of object which includes NPCs, roosters, and various other things. If it ends in 00, for example, these bytes right here, that means it's an item, or it's link, or it's maple, or it's a companion, various things like that. If it's 80, then that's an enemy, and that's why these are beetles and not roosters, because 8C, this byte over here, 8C, although it corresponds to a rooster if it's an interaction, it corresponds to this, I guess, some kind of beetle spawner if it's in an enemy slot, so it's completely different. And in a C0 slot, these are mostly enemy projectiles, like arrows, and other miscellaneous stuff. So if we wanted to spawn a second rooster, for real, what we would do is we would find a slot which ends with 40, so D340, let's put 018C here. And we can see there's another rooster in the top left. We didn't set his X and Y position, so we defaulted to the top left corner. The reason I'm explaining this is because I want to show you over on Onyx's castle how this works. So I have the save state already, and I have 11 roosters with me, and that's how this is going to look when I'm done the rooster cloning. So let's take a look at memory here. There's nothing... everything is empty except for Link himself at the beginning. Starting at D340 we have a rooster. Sorry, D440 we have a rooster. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, A, B, C, D, E, and then F is blank. So empty slots include D0, D1, D2, D3, and DF. So that should be 5 empty slots, but actually D040 and D140 are completely reserved. They're not used when the game tries to find an empty slot, and the reason for this, at least one of them is used for when you get items from treasure chests, so these are just never used except in very specific situations, so we can ignore them. So essentially the only slots that are empty are D240, D340, and DF40. Now, let's see what happens when we walk into this next screen. Obviously the cutscene plays, which prevents us from going any further. and the roosters are gone, which is incidentally not good if you happen to fail this trick. But anyway, let's just... Okay, enter the screen and paused here, and we see another object has appeared. Its ID is 6B, and you may remember the rooster's ID is 8C, so this is definitely not the rooster, not any of the roosters. So this is the Onix's Castle cutscene. And so the question is, what would happen if there was no space for this object to load? And let's just spawn a few more roosters here. So rooster here, and the final unused one is at DF40. Rooster here. Okay, so a bunch of roosters in the top left corner. We walk up here, and now the cutscene, there's no space for the cutscene to load. All of the slots were used up, so we can just waltz right into the castle now. So that's the idea behind how it works, and it's what in Link's Awakening they call this... Oops. I've never actually done this before. Entered from the wrong side. Anyway, in Link's Awakening they call this deloading, which is, you know, fair enough. Explains pretty decently what's happening here. It prevents anything else from loading if there's too many objects on the screen. So, let me explain. Let's go back to the beginning and explain how we get these roosters. So the way the glitch works, let's scroll back up to D240 where the first rooster spawns in. So when an object appears on screen, it finds the first blank space for it. And again, since D040 and D140 are ignored, the first object slot is D240, so that's the one that this rooster uses. Now, we can bring this rooster along with us. If we pause on the same frame, there, if we pause on the same frame that a Gale Seed is used, and hold the bracelet button, you can pick up the rooster and get caught at the same time. Now you may notice, if you're very observant, that this byte used to be 0-1 and now it's 0-3. And that's kind of the key to all this. So if we move left, Rooster is still there. And that's actually all because of this byte. If this is 3 instead of 1, that means the object persists between screens. So that's kind of your signal that the glitch worked properly. So yeah, now obviously we have 2 roosters. The first one is because it persisted in the second one. We have a second one in D340, which is the next free slot, because the game, the game tried to spawn the rooster as normal here, and there was a rooster which was already pre-spawned, so now we have 2 of them. So, okay, we'll do this a second time. Let's try this. Okay, we grabbed the rooster, but which rooster did we grab exactly? If we go left, you see we still only have 1 rooster. The D340 rooster is gone now. And the reason is because when we grabbed the rooster, we grabbed this rooster. And this rooster did not have its byte set to 3, so that means it's not going to follow us anywhere. And since they're in the exact same spot, we're always going to grab the first rooster in memory, so D240 will always take precedence over D340. So the only way we can actually grab this rooster and do the glitch on him is to make him appear before this rooster. So how can we do that? We're going to have to manipulate the slots in which they load, so we have a few ways to create interaction objects on screen. There's objects that occupy the same slot. The boomerang itself, nothing appeared here, so it's not, the boomerang is not one of these objects, but now something has appeared. That's the clink. This clink counts as one of those objects. So we can create a clink. Okay, we created a clink in screen transitions, and what that did, the clink occupied this D240 slot, and then the rooster had to go into the next slot, so he's in D340. So let's do this again. Alright, so he's gonna follow us. And now we're going to grab the new rooster spawned in this slot, so he's going to be the one that's grabbed now. Alright, we see they both have their bytes set to 3 now, so they will both follow us. So at this point we're kind of stuck because now we have a rooster that's occupying the very first slot, so he's always going to be the one that's grabbed. So right now we have 3 roosters on screen. The third one spawned over in D440 slot, but we have no way to grab him, so we can't duplicate any further. So we're gonna have to get more tricky if we want to do more with this. We need 4 roosters from here. So we're gonna need a bunch of interaction objects, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna have the boomerang. Obviously the clink from the boomerang works. If we had Noble Sword, we could use a sword beam and it would create an interaction when it hits the wall, but we don't have that, so we can't use that. We can use this shovel. Okay, you can kind of... disappears really quickly, but... yeah, this sort of dirt pile thing that appears, it disappears really quickly, but... yeah, here. In this D240 slot, that's this dirt pile, and that counts as an interaction, so we can use that. I'm actually gonna need to make 2 of those, which is pretty tight in terms of timing, but you can do it. And finally, this is an interaction, this season blurb. You can see it right here, D240. Now it's gone. It's only there for a split second, but we can use it. So let me explain how we use it. So if I just hold it right, okay, you see the moment Link starts moving? It's already far on the left side of the screen. It's not going to be there long enough for us to actually use it. So in order to use it, we pause. Okay, and then when Link starts moving, it's already all the way on the right side, so we have a lot more time to work with this. So if you pause before entering the screen, you can actually make use of this. So, and now the setup itself is pretty tight, but I'll remember to explain. I'll make a save state. Okay, walk as close to the edge as possible. Okay, now shoot the boomerang downward. And I like to wait until Link goes back to his normal animation. Shovel on B, I prefer. I put boomerang on A and shovel on B so that I don't... if you're holding down the boomerang button on A and then press the shovel on A, it won't actually use the shovel because it thinks you're still holding the button down. So I put the boomerang on, put the shovel on B and boomerang on A. Anyway, I like to do this until Link's animation goes back to normal. Right there. I hold down the shovel. Wait for it to dig. Okay. And again, the dirt pile is there for a very, very short amount of time, so we need to be quick here. Actually, I'm going to set up a breakpoint real quick. CC4C, this is... if you go to Window and Access Breakpoints, it'll... debug Access Breakpoints, it opens that window. CC4C, this is just the room index, so it'll break when the room changes. Anyway, so where were we? We had just dug up a dirt pile, so we're going to hold down and... okay, you need to hold down and then bracelet button. Bracelet is on A. The bracelet will do what's called a shovel cancel, which will allow us to cancel the shovel animation, which is pretty important for this. So I'm going to press B to close this, hold A to use the bracelet, then immediately pause again. And I'm going to hold down as well, so I change where I'm facing. Okay, that was a lot of inputs at once, but I cancelled the shovel with my bracelet, and now I'm going to do another dig. Just hold B. Buffer. Okay, we've got 2 dirt piles on screen, we've got the clink from the boomerang, and we've got the blurb for the season. Now, let's just hold right, I hope this works. Oh, I didn't shovel cancel. Okay, let's try it again. What is this? Okay. Hold down. Whip. Shovel and bracelet. Use shovel. Buffer. And again. Shovel. Bracelet down. Shovel again. Okay. Now I hold the bracelet this time, so I shovel cancel. And hold right. That looks like it worked. So my breakpoint is activated because we're about to change screens. So we've got this dirt pile, we've got this dirt pile, we've got this clink, we've got the season. So let's see, we've got this slot is used 2, 3, 4, 5. That's our 4 objects. And so then the rooster will take the next available slot, which is here. And yeah, we can see that right here. So let's bring this rooster with us. Okay. Now we need to do essentially the same thing again. If we enter the staircase, the rooster will disappear. So This time we're doing the exact same thing, except we don't have the season blurb this time. We want the next rooster to load in the D5 slot, so right here. So exactly the same as before. I'm gonna move a bit down because the rooster pushed me upwards a bit. Okay, boomerang. Okay, Link's animation is back to normal. Shovel. Okay, now depending on where that dig happened, I either move down or up here. Since I dug in the same spot I was standing, I'll just move down. Okay, brace it down, pause. Shovel. By the way, those heart and the rupees, they do not count for this. They are a different class of objects, so they cannot be used for this. Okay, so I'll press B, hold A for the shovel cancel, move right. And again, I've got my 3 objects, the clink, the 2 dirt piles. This should be good. Rooster should spawn in this slot. Okay, so this rooster is above this rooster, which has already been, the glitch has been performed with him already, so we don't care about him. And this one will be in the higher slot, so we'll grab him. And there we go. From here it gets a lot easier. Let me turn off this breakpoints. Yeah, so from here we just need to clink the boomerang and dig 1 dirt pile. Like... Okay, that should do it. Hold A, move right. I don't have bracelet equipped, that's why that didn't work. Let me try it again. Okay, so you need to practice the timing for this one, but it's not difficult at all. So flip boomerang, click the bracelet, shovel, hold bracelet, move right, and that should do it. Yeah. Rooster is in the next slot up. That's good. It's even easier now, we only need 1 interaction. This will push it into the D3 slots. D340. Okay, now for the very last one. We don't need to do a glitch on this again. We'll just move right and then he'll move. Okay. He'll spawn in the D2 slot, which is the very first slot. There's no point doing a glitch on this one because when we grab him and use him the proper way, the glitch will get cancelled anyway. So we're just gonna grab this guy. Get out of here. Alright, so now we've escaped with our 4 chickens. D3, 4, D5, and D6. Those are our 4 chickens. This is something else. Okay, so now we'll change this into spring. We're gonna get another 8 roosters from here. There's a lot more to work with on the screen. We've got all these flowers. Let me set another save state here. We've got all these flowers. In addition, there is one interaction. There's one interaction on the screen which is used for interacting with Moosh. The weird thing is Moosh himself is not an interaction. He's a different type of object, but there is an interaction which is on here, which is used for talking to him. So it's confusing, but yeah. And there's an interaction here. Actually, let me see if I can find it. Maybe, no, it's not here. These are all roosters. Here it is. Oh, yeah. So let me just show you what happens when I delete this, set this to 0. I talk to Moosh and the game is soft-locked. So obviously that's something to do with talking to Moosh, even though it is not Moosh himself. Yeah. Anyway. We're gonna need more bombs. Bombs in general. So you can just farm bombs here. I would suggest moving up to the screen above here, not to the screen to the left of here, if you need to reload this screen, because the left screen has, I think, at least 3 objects on it, which are invisible. And this one only has 2. So the object ordering is going to matter, so we don't want to do extra screen transitions that aren't necessary. But at least in the beginning, when there are only when you haven't duped these roosters on the screen above here yet, it should be fine to do a few extra screen transitions on the screen up here just to reload these flowers. And now the way this works. when we blow up these flowers, they kind of disappear in this kind of puff of leaves and stuff. If we look over, yeah, that's this one, this D240 interaction. So these count as interactions, and we're going to use these as well. And it's gone. It did disappear pretty quickly though, so we do need to be pretty precise. So, what I do is I pull out a bomb, I wait for a split second, and then I throw it. Okay. Yeah, a bit like that. Now, I'm gonna pull out my boomerang. Just it again. Try to move as far up as possible while still being in range to slash this next flower. Shoot my boomerang behind me. Pause immediately. Pass my sword. Pull out my shovel and bracelet. Yeah, I shouldn't have. Hopefully it still works. Okay, I'm just gonna move up. Okay, and now do it again. I'm going to dig. Just like, okay, I'm gonna turn on my breakpoint again. And just like before, I'm going to shovel cancel my dig. So I hold the A button, which has my bracelet, to shovel cancel. Alright, so let's see what's going on here. We've got one thing destroyed here, we've got the clink, we can't really see it, but we've got 3 flowers destroyed here, so those are all interactions. So where's this going to end up? This rooster should be, if I recall correctly, in the second last object slot. So, rooster, that's not a rooster. Oh yeah, these are different things. These are like the flowers blowing up and stuff like that. So, these are all in use. It's in use. A DD40, is that? Oh, of course, yeah. So here, this is where it's going to start loading objects. So let's see what happens. So of course, all the objects that were just there have now disappeared because we screened additions, and they're temporary anyway, so they don't last. But we've got something that spawned in DD40 slot. This is not the rooster. This is the gacha spot over here. This is the rooster. This is this rooster. Just to prove it, let's turn it off. That's the rooster. So, we're obviously going to clone this guy. Okay, now he'll follow us. Now for the next part, something you can do, which I don't, I'll turn this breakpoint off. Something you can do, which I don't actually do in my run, is you can do a little trick. Yeah, I'll show this at the very end. I'll make a save state here and show this at the very end because it's not important right now. But we can get one more rooster than I'm going to show right here. Oh, whoops. Okay. So, okay, same deal. We're just going to do one less object here. I'm going to forego the boomerang this time. Wait, let's do this up. Maybe this will work. Looks good actually. So yeah, here's the next rooster, so that worked. You do have a limited number of DLCs to do this with, so you need to get kind of good at buffering. Okay, same deal again, we're going to do one less object. So no boomerang and no shovel this time. Yeah, actually, timing becomes pretty easy here because all we have to do is slash the bush, we don't have any other stuff going on. So it's pretty easy to time that. And just to confirm, here's the next rooster. I was holding the bracelet, so I must not have been in a good position to grab him. Okay. Now all I need to do is blow up the bushes this time. Don't need to blow up 2 bushes this time. Okay, now at this point I'd like to take a look at this interaction that corresponds to Moosh here, because it's gonna cause a slight hiccup. Where is it? Probably this one. I think it's this one. Let me test this real quick. Nothing else this could be. Yeah, that's Moosh. Or the interaction which lets you talk to Moosh. Okay, so this is now a D840, so where's this going to end up? There's something weird about this screen, because you notice that like this slot is not being used, so why did this end up in D840, not D740? This one's higher up. The reason for that is because I think there are at least 3 objects on this screen, and 2 of them delete themselves immediately because they check the whatever event flags you've done and they see they're not supposed to be here yet. I think in particular the Deku Scrub appears after you beat Dungeon 4, and so he knows he's not supposed to be here, so he deletes himself, but it does affect the positioning of this this object that corresponds to Moosh, so it ends up down here. And that's going to cause it to despawn a bit early. In fact, we've been using this object to push down our Rooster into further down slots, but very soon this is going to okay, next time this will end up in D940 because there'll be 1 more Rooster, and after that it's going to end up all the way in DF40 because that's going to be the last available slot to it, and that means it won't be able to push our Rooster down into further slots anymore. So that's going to affect what we do in a second. So let me just continue from now. Where was I? I did 1. Okay, last time we blew up 2 bushes, and now we'll just slash 1 bush. And where's our Rooster? Here he is. Yeah, that's right. He's 1 slot before the last Rooster we made. So, clone this guy. Okay, now you would think that next time we would just not slash the bush, because then that would be 1 less interaction than last time. But like I said, Moose interaction has just gotten pushed down to the DF slot. That means he's not going to be of any use for us to push Moose to push the Rooster any further down. So we need to create 1 interaction to make up for that, just like before. Okay, and now there should be no more room for that Moose interaction, so let's test that. Yeah, so I did not despawn him manually this time. This time he just despawned because there were so many Roosters it could not load that object. Okay, so now we don't do any more, we don't break anything, we just go up. Okay, and that's all our Roosters. We currently have 12 Roosters with us. And we're gonna see Moosh himself despawns. It's a bit odd. There are at least 2 objects corresponding to Moosh here. I think that there might be 1 interaction which is a Moosh spawner, and then another interaction which lets you talk to him. I think that might be how it works. It's a bit weird. Anyway, we have all the Roosters we need, so we're gonna go ahead and go straight to Onix's castle. Good time to do a bomb check here. I forgot to do this in my run. I got lucky and got a bomb drop anyway, but you need at least 5 bombs to beat Facade. Good time to check for that. Break some bushes if you don't have enough bombs. Okay, now all of my Roosters will disappear if I enter any loading zone, and there's no way to exit the mountain without using loading zone except this way. It's pretty convenient that we can do this. So by using this Rooster, he's going to not follow us anymore. So we'll now have only 11 Roosters. That Rooster is now gone. This jump is kind of hard. It's like pixel perfect. There we go. And these bushes have hearts and Pegasus seeds, which you might want to fill up on real quick. I'm going to line up here before using Pegasus seeds so I can get the right pixel. How did that? I think I got knockback. Let me save state. Yeah, see, this is incredibly precise. Okay, I'm at half a heart, but it's all good. Now, we're here again. We have 11 roosters with us. We just need to get 3 more objects. I'm not gonna hack memory like I did last time. I'm gonna actually do this legit. So, we're gonna get 2 dirt piles and 1 boomerang, just like we did on top of Mount Coco. So, let's shoot the boomerang down and left. Yeah, I wait for it to be about on that position. Okay. Now, the interesting thing about the boomerang and the shovel is that you can start a dig while you're in your boomerang throw animation. It doesn't look like you're digging, but you will be digging. So, hold down shovel. Okay. Now, I hold left and A to shovel cancel and move left. And then pause again. Hold down shovel again. Okay. I got 2 dirt piles. Let me do one last breakpoint here. I've got 2 dirt piles. I've got my boomerang clink. I just gotta hold A and up. Alright, I hope that one dirt pile didn't disappear. I might just not be able to see it. Oh yeah, okay, it didn't work. Wait, I think something's wrong here. I've got 2 slots. Oh, the boomerang didn't clink. This is very wrong. So this is complete failure. Okay, I'm not quite sure what I did there. Let's try it again. Let me move a bit closer to the entrance. Okay. Try this again. Boomerang down left. Shovel. Soul cancel. Hold A and up. Yeah, hold A and up. Now, hopefully this works. We've got D240 is filled, D340. Everything else from here up to DF should be roosters. Rooster, rooster, rooster. These are all 8C, that means rooster. All roosters. Okay, and then this is the boomerang. This is either boomerang clink or shovel dirt, I don't know. But yeah, this should work. All slots are filled up, so there's no space for the cutscene to load. And we've gotten to Onix Castle early. Just don't die to the don't die to these guys, because you know that would kind of suck. Yeah, all roosters are gone now. Anyway, let me show the one thing I wanted to show earlier. It's possible to get 13 roosters here. There's 12 roosters when you get to Onox. I'm using a little trick here. So, hang on. Okay, I need to... What do I need to do here? Right, okay, I need to do the same thing as I did in my very first rooster dupe on the screen. So I'll do the full setup. What this will do is it will cause the rooster to appear in a slot below the current rooster, which is normally not what we want, but I'll explain. Okay, so if all goes well, then this rooster should appear in the very last slot. I think that was fine. Yeah, so this is the one rooster we cloned, and this is the new rooster. So obviously, if we grab the rooster, we're gonna grab this rooster, the one that's already cloned. So, I mean, how's that gonna help, right? all we're gonna do is kind of get him out of the way. And then once we're released, we're gonna do the glitch on this rooster. We only get one attempt at this. I mean, you'll have to grab the rooster again and try again if you fail it. So now, we've cloned the lower down rooster. But we've cancelled the glitch on the first rooster, because we grabbed him. So we'll have to do this again. Okay, so that lets us... If you do this, then that means you'll only have to get 2 objects on the Onix castle screen, which will make it safer. Like, you can do just 1 boomerang and 1 shovel, and that's a lot easier. And also, potentially, this could help with possibly skipping the boomerang. We'll need to find a few other things to make that happen. Anyway, that about sums it up. I hope you found that informational.